Hello and welcome to another edition of Michigan Conservative Roundtable. Today we have a bit of a different format. We're going to interview someone and we have a guest. This is Dan Lawford, and Dan's going to talk to us about why weight training and strength training is important for older Americans, men and women. So Dan, what got you interested in this endeavor?
In our church, we do full prostrations from different times of the season and church year. And during Pentecost, we do full prostrations for a long period of time, and I couldn't get up off the floor. So a fellow in our church, who's a cantor in our church, was very strong. I didn't know why. He helped me up, and he said, "You want to be like that the rest of your life?" I said, "No." Well, when you retire, and I was about to retire and move back here to Michigan, when you retire, get a hold of Dr. Jonathan Sullivan. He's a certified strength trainer, and you need some strength. And you need to do squatting, you need to do deadlift, you need to do overhead press, and you need to do bench press. By the way, my shirt says, for back pain, I take iron.
Okay. So obviously you took that suggestion seriously, yes. And I take it you looked Jonathan up?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Before I did, I decided I wanted to lose a little weight. So I began to start walking 3 or 4 miles a day, and I cut down to 215. I was at 244.
Okay.
That's the heaviest I've been in my life. But down to 215, and so then I called him because I didn't want to embarrass myself. I called him, and we got into strength training, and I still weigh anywhere. I fluctuate between 215 and 220.
Okay.
Well, 226 right now.
So why the weight gain?
Why the weight gain?
Yes.
I was getting lazy. I had run years and years ago.
Okay.
And I was down to about 170.
Okay. Actually, what I meant was why the weight gain after you started the program.
Oh, muscle.
Okay. Explain to us a little bit how that works.
Well, fat weighs as much per pound as muscle does,
right?
But it takes a lot more of a stomach to hold in the fat than it does to hold in the muscle. So I just gained muscle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of level did you start out at in this? Describe some of the kind of things you did to start out. Because I don't imagine you just jumped in and started doing deadlifts.
No. Well, actually, in the first session, he showed us how to do a deadlift.
Okay.
He showed us how to do a squat and the overhead press and the bench press. And I couldn't lift very much. I thought lifting a 25-pound plate was quite an exertion when I started. And then after a few months, we were upstairs gym, and Dr. Sullivan asked me to go down and get a couple of plates, 45-pound plates from his trunk. So I did. Very dutiful that way. Mm-hmm. That's what he says anyway. So I went down there and I said, I wonder. It's a long ways up, long stairways up. I wonder if I can carry them both at the same time, 2 45-pound plates. And I did.
Wow.
I said,
okay.
Hey, I am gaining strength.
Did you struggle?
No.
No? Good.
No.
Okay.
Keeping the grip.
Okay, so aside from being able to get off the floor, why should older Americans, which TJ and I would certainly fall into that category, we're both 59, what would be our incentive to start some strength training?
Well, one incentive is that you don't have to have somebody help you get out of a chair. But that's where I was heading, really. And balance is very important. But as we get older, it's harder and harder to keep our balance.
That's true.
That balance and strength. I don't expect this to make me live longer, but it helps me to live. There's a story in the Barbell Prescription that Dr. Sullivan wrote.
Okay.
It talks about Bill and Phil, brothers, twin brothers. One decided that he wanted to eat every chance he got, and didn't do much exercise.
Seafood diet, yeah.
Yeah, seafood. Yeah, that's right. Die for it. Anyway, he lived to be about 49 and dropped dead after about 10 years of increasing sarcopenia and aging diseases.
Okay.
Lack of breath and all sorts of things that you experience when you eat too much and don't exercise.
Right.
But anyway, he died at 49. His twin brother died in the Alps when he'd taken a hike at 88.
Wow.
He exercised, disciplined. By the way, my statistics advanced degrees at Northwestern University. I like to brag about that. I'm sorry, but
That's
anyway, the oh, no, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Never mind.
Statistics?
See, it doesn't help my brain any. Died, but one of them died. He spent the last 20 years of his life suffering with the experience of growing experiences of diabetes.
Yeah.
He was
Well,
miserable. He
We
was
all know
miserable.
what a terrible disease
Yeah,
that is.
yeah.
We've got family members with that problem.
And I have diabetes,
Do you?
but I'm able to keep it under control
Okay.
with diet and well.
Type 2?
Insulin, type 2. I take insulin every day and take metformin, but if it weren't for the exercise and the diet, strict diet.
Right.
Religare. That's what I was trying to think of. It's the basic Latin word for religion. What is
Okay.
religion? I'm a great proponent of religion.
Okay.
I cringe every time somebody says, "Oh, God's going to end our religion." Baloney. God, religion means discipline.
Right.
That's the Latin word for discipline. If you lead a disciplined life, you can eat. Every once in a while, you can go off the track, but you have to. Most of the time, you have to eat modestly. You have to eat protein and vegetables.
And who was it? Benjamin Franklin, who said everything in moderation, including moderation?
No, well, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
So,
that's right.
You have a question, TJ?
Well, I was just wondering what your thoughts were on the bands. You see people with
Most of the, if that's all you can do it. But
Okay.
it doesn't get you very far. It doesn't amount to much. Do barbell training. That's really
Might that be
what it
maybe a
matters.
jump start for someone?
It might be. It
If
could
they
be.
were
If
not
it
able
were.
to get off the floor, for instance?
It might be. It might be.
I had a similar experience years ago doing Stations of the Cross, which, you kneel.
Oh, yes.
And I'm kneeling on this tile floor, and we go through the whole stations. And
Yeah.
next day at work, my quads hurt so bad, I thought maybe I had a neuromuscular disease. They'll come on people like that, and all of a sudden I can hardly walk, and I'm all over the place. And
I tell you, brother, the first few days of barbell training, that's what you'll get.
Yeah.
You'll barely be able to walk out of the gym.
So, what kind of weight did you start out with?
I started off, I think, lifting. I could do deadlifts about 150.
Okay.
And squats, it took me a long time to learn how to do squats because my lack of mobility in my shoulders. But at any rate, I started at about 50 pounds, and then I can do squats at 267 and a half is my top single,
Okay.
374 for the deadlift at top single, and 181 for the bench press. At the overhead press, I can do 128.
Okay. I've never been a big weightlifter. I did do it for a while. You lifted some weights for a while, didn't you?
in my days of youth. Back then, what I did was, and this is a long time ago now, but I did a whole lot of reps with a lighter weight because I was worried about my joints. I was afraid. For instance, when I was doing push-ups, I could start feeling, because I got a bad right shoulder right here, and I don't know, I could just feel it. I guess I was afraid to put too much weight on my shoulders, so I just went with the lighter weight, three reps or three whatever you call it, of lighter weight. I don't know. Term escapes me.
Progressive resistance is the key. You started. You asked me where I started.
Yeah.
I started at the lower weights.
Right.
And then progressively, it didn't happen overnight.
As you strengthen.
First year, I could still only lift 315 on the deadlift, but I started at 150. So, and now it's taken me the next 5+ years to get to 374.
And I can imagine a lot of it is proper technique.
Proper technique.
I would
absolutely.
also say,
Absolutely.
I would also say this, and I'm not the most patient individual, but I think sometimes people try to go too fast, and it's almost like you got to be patient with your progress.
Very patient. You have to be very patient. A coach for me, is indispensable. I think the older you get, the more indispensable coaches become.
Sure.
I mean, a properly trained coach. Most of the coaches in the frou-frou gyms, like no, don't mention names. Okay. Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we don't want to be sued.
They don't want to be sued, but they're not. The trainers have almost no training themselves, and so they're telling you what to do. They're going to get you hurt.
They certainly could.
Go to somebody who knows what they're doing. Dr. Sullivan has a PhD in physiology and he's an MD.
Okay.
So he knows what you feel safe when you're on him.
Right. What might be some other reasons? I know you say there's some biblical reasons why you might want to be in the best shape you can be in, but what comes to mind is we're living in a society that seems to be getting less and less tolerant and more violent. I mean, I can turn on YouTube and watch 100 hours of leftist women throwing punches at people.
I know.
And men for that matter. But I think these attacks aren't going away. I suspect as they don't get their way in the 2020 election, they're going to get worse. So I would think you kind of need to be as strong as you can be to survive that kind of attack.
You're exactly right. It's not that guys like us are fast enough to be able to beat these guys, but at least you can withstand the punishment, and maybe we can get a bear hug on them and throw them on the ground. I mean, it's not just the women. You've got Antifa people. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
They're,
Or Antifa, they call it.
Yeah, they're anything but Antifa, anything but anti-fascist. They're fascists themselves.
Right.
And I've confronted them, or they've confronted me in my minor political camp life, not very long. But I confronted them. They knew that if I won, I could be influential.
Correct.
Have all my life. So
they try to
were
shut us
attacking
down at every opportunity. They've tried to shut us down on our small YouTube channel.
Really?
I had someone the other day who tried to bait me into an argument where I would say something inappropriate.
Yeah.
He would complain to me about YouTube. YouTube would smack us down. Didn't take that bait. Not going to take that bait.
No.
We're going to keep going. We're going to keep spreading the conservative message, and that's what we're here for, and that's what we're going to do.
St. Paul describes our body, or it's debatable. Some people have said the body he's talking about is the church, and some people say it's our
Physical body.
physical body.
You might want to speak up just a little bit, Dan, for the camera.
Our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and we ought to treat it like that.
Right.
And that means that we're disciplined in how we eat and how we exercise. And strength training is the basis of everything else. You can't lift weights, or you can't do any kind of sports. You can't even operate your life adequately if you're not strong. If you're not as strong as you can be. Now, there aren't too many people who can lift as much as I can in the country. But there's a lot of people in our gym who aren't nearly as strong as I am, who are more balanced. We've got people with all kinds of dread diseases that are getting stronger and stronger. You know, they can lift now to a couple 100 pounds.
Sure.
We've got a 78-year-old woman who can lift 225 on the deadlift. We have a 92-year-old man who lifts 240.
Wouldn't that be embarrassing?
Yeah, big time.
Wouldn't that be embarrassing? I can attest to what you're saying is true. I was an avid bowler. I'd bowl a couple, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And people think that's not exercise. They're out of their mind. Go out and bowl 20 games sometimes.
Whoa.
You're sweating like a pig.
If you recall, Mac, was I not doing massive hammer curls
Yes.
to better my bowling?
Yep.
I was doing big time hammer
There you go.
curls because it was kind of the same motion as bowling. Mac took me under his wing and taught me to bowl.
Turned him from a 105 average to a 185 average, which is well above the national average for men, in 3 years. So.
Great.
But I did bowl. I would bowl a couple, 3 times a week, and I'd play softball a couple times a week.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think it was that much exercise. I was a catcher, so I got a lot of activity behind the plate. But boy, once I quit bowling, and once I quit playing ball, because you got to quit sometime. I was 52, I think. So
Well, you did better than I did.
you had
I
to
didn't
hang
do
that
much
up.
of anything.
And boy, did I find out quickly that was a lot more exercise than I imagined it was.
Yeah, I believe you. But if anyone's interested and lives in our area in southeastern Michigan, check out Gray Steel Strength and Conditioning.
And we will add that tag
Okay.
in our description.
Okay.
And the book, was it
Barbell Prescription.
Barbell
by-
Prescription?
by
Okay.
Dr. Jonathan Sullivan.
Okay. Is there anything you want to add, TJ?
Nope.
How about you, Dan? You have any closing words?
I just say that it's one of the best things, not the best thing, but one of the best things. The best thing ever was for me to come to Christ and let Him lead my life. But one of the 2 or 3 best things in my life was to get into strength training. It really has made our life wonderful. My wife attests to the same thing. She had been in the hospital all the summer before, almost died before she decided to get into strength training. She had terrible disease, but now she's strong. She had diagnosed with osteoporosis. It's gone. No more osteoporosis. She deadlifts 150.
Again, embarrassing. I wouldn't want to imagine what I might try to lift. But we're going to call that a wrap on this one. So as we always say on the Michigan Conservative Roundtable, be safe, watch your 6, and don't tread on me.
Amen.